Okay, we're all good. Thanks, everybody. Ashley, did you want me to kick this off or did you want to kick us off? I'm happy to do it.
Yes, if you don't mind, just for a second, my kids are up. I'm here, just getting them not in my face because Owen wants to see you, and so he's been waiting. So we're just, I'm sorry.
Okay, hey, everyone. Welcome. This is our monthly international call, and I'm super excited to have all of you here and really excited to have our special guest, our Royal Crown Diamond, Lindsey Gremont, who just has so much wisdom and so much just great information. She has grown internationally, in particular in South Africa, but she also has a very large team in Mexico and just teams all over the world. So we just love looking to her for wisdom on what's working and trending, and would also look to hear from you guys on the call as well. So please feel free to use the chat box because we can also use this as a great opportunity to ask questions and learn from each other. So I would love to introduce Lindsey. Thank you so much for being here. We're super excited.
Sure. Thank you and Ashley for asking me to be on. And I see quite a few people on who are from South Africa. So, I mean, it's funny that you asked me to speak on this when there's all these amazing people doing amazing work there on the call. But I'm always happy to share my thoughts and get the conversation going because I don't want it to be, just me jabbering on. I would love to hear from you on, this is a monthly call that thankfully your amazing leaders, Tracy and Ashley, host for you. And my question to start this off and type it in the chat is, what are you looking to learn this month that you haven't heard already? Because for me, it's always the same thing. So, growing somewhere internationally is no different from growing somewhere where you are in my mind. However, I would enhance that by saying that stepping outside your comfort zone is never comfortable, no matter what the case is for that. So, it might feel to someone who lives in a small town to grow in the bigger town near them, just as daunting as it might be to grow in somewhere halfway around the world. So it's all about perspective. And I think that, now, you asked Tracy what's trending, and I would say that, when I was working with all of the amazing people in South Africa, the big thing for us was we wanted to be there in person to drive, some really good classes and education. And, after a year of many of us not being able to go anywhere, outside of our home country, maybe even outside of our home for some of you who maybe haven't even done that, it has changed things quite a bit. And so, but maybe it's changed things in a way that brings us all to a place where we can more readily be together, which is always a good thing. So more people are joining things virtually. However, I think a lot of people have virtual fatigue. I know I do. I want to, be in person with people. And so I've been kind of navigating more toward that. If you haven't noticed, I obviously many years ago, I did a ton of videos and tons of things online. And now because so much is online, I don't want to do that right now. Or maybe it's just because somebody's telling me that that's what I should do. And I don't like being told what to do. Maybe that's why I'm an entrepreneur, a successful one, because I don't like being told what to do. So I haven't been doing a lot online. I've been, building community locally and doing whatever events I can locally. So, but everyone has different levels of comfort and different things they want to do. But that all being said, I just wanted to kind of give that, flavor and context that if you do want to build somewhere internationally, that you do, I think, have I don't want to say easier because nothing's ever easy. Maybe it's simpler. It seems to me that there would be a simpler way to say that you want to do that without having to travel halfway across the world, multiple times in a year, which is what we did. Allie and I did to go build South Africa, for example. So, I have the ability to kind of give an excuse now that I'm not going to fly to Johannesburg. Sorry, Andy. I'm not going to be able to do that right now. But we could do, an event virtually. But the thing about events, no matter whether they're virtual or in person, getting people there is still the name of the game, right? And I miss you too, Andy. Getting people to come and listen to you is always important. And so I know that Tracy and Ashley share so many great tips on how to invite, but that to me is always the biggest thing. So you can go and hear their perspectives on that. I think that probably spending most of your time ensuring that people do come, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're like bugging people, right? Like, and reaching out to them a lot. I think it's more about like figuring out what resonates. So, for example, I'm starting to do some more local classes here, and just kind of figuring out what people want. And different groups of people that I'm around might want different things, but I'm in various little chats all over the place. And some of them have polling features, for example. I don't know, I can't remember if WhatsApp has a poll feature, but Telegram does and GroupMe does. And so I'm in various chats like that. So I'll like put a poll out there, like what kinds of classes are you interested in for March, for example. And, I was surprised to see that I put a few different things out there, but like soap making was what everyone wanted to do. So, you just never know, right? I was thinking, oh, they're going to want to know about, babies and kids, and oils or something. And no, they wanted to do soap making. So, so whatever, to me, it's about, targeting your audience, right? And tailoring different events for the audience that you are targeting. The people that you want to come, you have to give them something that they want to come to, right? It may not be that they are, jumping at the chance to come here. You talk about, I don't know, making, soap, if they want to come and make perfume or whatever. So whatever it is, though, that you can draw people into an event, even if it's like, to watch, even if it's virtually watching, because there's a lot of ways to watch movies together now, different platforms and things to do that. But just any way you can do to build community and draw people in, I think is super important. So, I put even on there, like, I have some old DVDs that are called Nourishing Our Children. And I have so many times brought people together to come over and watch that. And they're just like these old DVDs that I have, that I've had for like, I don't know, like 13, 14 years now, that were just put together that give, principles on how to, why, we need to feed our children certain nutrients, and explaining why certain things aren't good for them and whatever. But I mean, people want to know that stuff. So, so just, or even like, maybe you have a favorite documentary that you found transformative in your journey in learning about natural health, that maybe surprised you, whatever it is, right? But bringing people together in many different ways to learn. And when you help someone learn in one way, then it helps to bring them into other ways that you can add value in their life, around oils or something like that. So I'm going to check, I've been blabbering on, but I want to check the chat because I did ask y'all a question about what you wanted to learn. Sorry, I just made the chat go away. Everyone, where's everyone from? Virtual fatigue, yes. Yeah, I want to travel too. I want to travel to see you. Okay, so make sure I will have time to, yes, right. Okay. there's no questions here. No, okay, like the documentary Stink. Tracy is saying that's a good one too. Okay, I like hearing from Laura. I'm sure others on here can share how they have built through all of this time through global hysteria. Yes. So I can address that question, but yes, I would love to hear how others are addressing this question. For me personally, stepping outside of social media has helped me a ton. And I know I have been very present on social media for a very long time. And so it might be confusing as to why I'm not, but I really, in my mind, wanted to compartmentalize out everyone's like diverse opinions. I don't want, I it was noise in my mind. I don't want to know what, Anna thinks versus Natalie versus whatever. And, I don't want to prejudge anyone and what they're thinking right now, because there's so many different ways that we've been divided. And personally, I feel like, in the line of work and the passions that I pursue around, understanding how my body works and my immune system and natural health. And just, I just feel like we all collectively are humans, and it is what it is, right? But the way social media is used to drive certain emotions. I'm a very empathetic person. And so it was just a lot of noise. And so it gave me a lot of clarity to exit, from that. So, when you talk about this global hysteria or whatever someone wrote there, building during this time for me has been like, okay, I'm going to build my business in a very different way than I did the first, 7 years of my business. And so for the past year, I have really just made a bunch of new friends that are like-minded to me, that have, I'm vibing on the same wavelength. So I don't feel like, I'm going to get slapped for anything of my views. But it's just a comfort thing for me. It's just like, I just need to be around, I think we all just want to, you're kind of who you surround yourself with. Right. And so I don't want negative energy right now. That's just it's just, there's too much going on in the world as it is. So, just doing a lot more local community building, and it's been great. I've been building a new leg around that, and it's been a lot of fun and unique for me, and getting to know people and kind of feeling, like I'm building in a different way, probably like a lot of the ways that you guys do right now. So a lot more focused. Sorry, my dogs are just barking at everyone right outside the door here. And, just being a more personal, more, a much more focused approach. Your dogs are barking at my dogs. Great. So, I mean, that's my perspective and how I handle the energy of the world right now. I don't know what others would share, but I am definitely not rocking social media right now. I'm doing it in different ways. So, take it for what it is. Okay. What are the comments on that? Let me see here. We'd love to hear more about inviting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Ashley, get me out of here. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just reading the comments. Frankly, I will say this: if you are looking, I don't want to have my comments just push anyone away from, working on social media. I think that you have to understand where people like me and Tracy are coming from. We've been around on social media for a very long time, talking about things that in the United States are very much censored right now. And so we have, spent many years where our voice has been, the volume has been dialed down by, the platforms that we've been on. And so just the reach wasn't there. Now, if you're brand new, or maybe you, started on Instagram building about talking or building your brand on maybe lifestyle products, maybe even home goods or clothing, then you're not going to encounter the same level of suppression maybe that we had. So you're going to find yourself in a very different place. So if that's working for you and you are able to get your message across, then go for it. And if you're brand new, then you're not going to have the same issues either. So, you can, go ahead and go about your day and do stuff. I had to find a different way to talk to people because, I'm just not able to talk to people on social media anymore because there's literally like something that has turned the switch off for me to be able to even reach anyone. So, that's the nature of the world we're in right now. So, but I think that people who are new on Instagram, fairly new, maybe you have a few hundred followers, still do, the things that you've always done. Reaching out to people, connecting with new people that you find interesting on various topics and things like that on Instagram and on Facebook or whatever, and still be able to do those things. Okay. Okay. Well, everyone keeps talking about Laura. So what's Laura doing? Why is
she's probably sorry, Laura.
Even here?
Ask her to talk on here, but I'm saying that because I will tell you it's an example of someone that built from enrollment to silver during this. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, that's huge because just to be quite honest, in the US market, I don't have a lot of people who have done that outside of people who are already social media influencers during this time, because we built, most of my team has built with in-person and social media being like probably the same pace, if that makes sense, but not because social media is how they're getting people, but they're using it to leverage like their in-person and their one-on-one contacts. So yeah, if you don't want to talk, Laura, I can read your comments out loud too, but I want to preface that with so it's a lot harder, right? When you don't know someone's market and you're coaching them to share during a time when we're all locked down. Like that's what I feel like we should say that because this is so fun. But Lindsay told me this 2 years ago and I kind of laughed it off, but she's like, building internationally is a grind. It's a grind. Like you have to figure it out. And I was like, that doesn't sound fun. I don't think I want to do that. And then when we started having people want to do it, I was like, oh yeah, it's really interesting because everything is different. Guys, it's not the same. So it's okay to not know what you're doing. And that's always like want to leave with saying that because I don't think that Laura probably ever feels prepared to do new things that she's doing because when she gets coaching from people that are all right, a lot of us in the US, I don't always know the information before she asks me a question. And anyway, I would love to hear you share a little bit.
Laura or me on that topic?
Both of you, maybe.
Okay. I'll go first, Laura, yes, that's an interesting to remember from what I said 2 years ago about how this is a grind. But I would agree that yes, building in new markets or different markets from your own is interesting because you kind of have to know, double the information or triple the information. You have to understand a new culture. You have to understand what's going on in someone's world, differently from your worldview. You have to understand, what's going on in that market, who the leadership is, what kinds of promotions they've got going on and whatever. All of those things, and understand and take in. There's a lot of I don't know how else to say it. I'm sure the girls in South Africa will understand what I'm saying, but it's like there's mindset challenges in every culture and every country, and they might be different than the country that you're in. So, in everywhere you would build, ours, whatever, you're going to meet somebody who says our kit's too expensive, or for example, or you're going to meet someone who says, well, if we don't have that oil, then we're finished. Or you're going to meet people who have a negative mindset or who have a positive mindset, right? And so, but it's like the context is different depending on the market you're talking about. So like Mexico, for example, or South Africa, there are challenges with price. There are challenges with price and value in every market, right? And I think we now, right, then versus now, I think, we see these things play out where people find a way regardless. Right? There's always a way. right? And so it's really interesting to work with people, and it's the same no matter what market you're working in, but it's really interesting to see who finds a way, right? Who has an excuse and who finds a way. And even in with despite all the challenges, because there are challenges no matter where you are, but despite all the challenges, what I love most about interacting with people in different markets is the people who find the way, right? There's always someone who seems to figure it out. They come up with innovative things to do. They, and then we try and, leverage those ideas in some other market, and some pick up and some don't, some work well and some don't. In Mexico, they do all these crazy things where people join in and buy a kit together, and it like didn't really work in South Africa, like when we tried to bring it up. Maybe now it does, I don't know. But my point is, there's like, people find a way. And it's always, to me, so inspiring to see when people find a way, even when it's like, everything is sold out and you can't get product, or, shipping is messed up, or the warehouse is messed up, or, weird things are happening with poaching, or just weird people, I guess I'm sitting up here on the moon, right? And seeing all the different markets and all the different people I've met over the years. But I definitely feel like it's all perspective and mindset in the end, because somebody always figures it out. And we grew despite the challenges in every market. I mean, every market I hear complaints about different things. We don't have this, we don't have that, this isn't the same, you guys are so lucky, you have this, you have that, right? There's always like this feeling of like, I have something that you don't have, right? And so, I don't know what all the comments are on that, but I very strongly believe that no matter where you're building and what the challenges are, someone always finds a way. So the question to you is, how can you come up with something innovative to overcome the challenges you encounter in a given market? There's always a way. I'm looking at the comments now again. Laura, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because clearly we know you found a way during a very challenging time. You found a way.
Okay, my way is not building international, though. It's building local here in your international market. So yeah, for me, Young Living is all about helping people, and for me, samples and giving out product to people has been the way I built my whole business. And yeah, that's all I can say. And then I saw this video on the Grow group about this guy, and it was a guy, and I thought, wow, if this guy can do it, then we can do it. And I just got all my team builders together, and we started sample 6, and it's 6 days that we send out samples. You send them a box with 6 little samples, day 1, day 2, day 6. And it includes products of oil and the thieves cleaners. And every day we put them all on a WhatsApp group. And then every day we discuss the product, and we give our testimonials, and we share cool stuff about everything. And people get to try it and use it. And some of them are just amazed. And we don't always get the sign up straight away. I mean, you plant that seed, and 2-3 months down the line, those people are ready. So it's a constant follow up, and it is hard work. Nothing comes easy, but yeah, it works. But I'm actually here to learn how to build internationally, because I have to go international.
Well, it sounds like you have some international members, and I think you guys would be surprised looking at some of your member list to see who you've got. But I think the key is just finding people and asking, if you know people, right, in different markets, different parts of the world, and figuring out, how you can serve those people and how you can build a community with those people. And yeah, I mean, to me, it's not rocket science. It's all about how you find people anywhere, right? Where do you find people? It might not be that you have people in your direct network of people that you know personally, in person, like grew up with or whatever. Again, that's where social media comes in to really help you identify people in other markets. I mean, if you're able to speak another language, then, start there. If you're not, then start with somewhere where people speak your language, right? If you're looking on social media and you're like trying to translate, someone's German or something, like that's not clearly going to work. But to me, it's like, well, if you want to target a certain country, and this is something that I did very specifically for South Africa. I knew I was going there to teach classes for people that I knew, but then, and they were inviting, people and whatever, but I also knew that I had a network of people on Instagram, and I could find people on Instagram. And so I started following, people. I started following people on Instagram that were from South Africa, and I just started targeting posts. I don't know how else to describe it, like promoting posts, paying for, posts to go into certain people's feeds, whatever you want to call it, toward people that were in South Africa, and then inviting them to the events that I was putting on. And so I made flyers and, various things online, explained the event, had a website, had the ability for people to contact me via email to say that they wanted to come, and, would start a conversation with them that way off of the social media platform. I wanted to get an email from them. I wanted to know they were a real person or whatever. Setting up WhatsApp chats to put them in, leads, and just really tracking those leads and talking to various people nonstop. But I was finding them on social media. So, I was able to, like, every event we had, I'll say every, but a lot of the bigger events we had, I was able to get, my own prospects there, and actually enrolled quite a few of them. So I think it's important to know that, even someone at my level, I think sometimes you think, oh, well, they're having an event, I'm having an event for this friend at their house, and they're going to invite all these people, and oh, yay, I can enroll all these people. But it's like, I always want to ask myself, like, what can I bring to the table, right? Like, it's great that this person is going to bring, such and such and such people, but could I bring such and such more people, right? Like, how can I leverage this? Where do I know different pockets of people? How can I make this a really successful event that has, 30 people instead of just, 10? Or, like, how could I do that? How could I set that challenge and that goal for myself? How do I find those people? And so I'm constantly asking those questions. So I think when you think about all the really awesome classes that the people around you do. I mean, I know everyone in here shares various things they're doing. Allie and Tracy and Ashley, and everyone has these various events, and it's like, okay, well, who do I know that needs to learn about hormones? How can I bring them to this event instead of just going to the event and learning yourself? Where can I find people that want to talk about hormones? You post something about hormones, target it to a certain country, you see who's responding, or you do some kind of giveaway, whatever, right? You figure something out to identify and invite those people and find those people. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I can tell you right now, I probably connected with no fewer than probably 1,000 people, maybe more. I don't even know. I have so many people in my contact list. I mean, I see them all joining Telegram now, because Telegram tells you when someone's joined, and I name them all in my contact list, like, Insta lead or, WhatsApp chat, whatever. I have that. And so I see it pop up and I'm like, oh, that's that person in South Africa that never bought anything, right? So there's like thousands of people in my contact list that are people that never bought anything that I could still, technically reach back out to and follow up with. And then I see some, that I do know and have kept in touch with. So, it's just, right. It's just a constant working, following up, finding people, working at following up, finding people, working, following up. So when you think, well, how do I do this internationally? Well, like, ask yourself these questions, like, where do I want to focus internationally? Where do I know somebody internationally? Who do I follow on Instagram that's in that country? How would I reach out to them? Like, just reach out to them, right? They're like, I should comment on their stories. I should, engage with them more. Where else do they hang out? Do they have a Telegram? Do they have, WhatsApp or whatever? Do they have a blog? Do they have an email list? Do they have, because a lot of people will, comment on my blog posts, or I get random emails from people. I don't know. And when you get on their email list, like you can get on somebody's email list that's an influencer somewhere. And they might get a lot of emails, but they also might not. Like they might have a smaller blog and they might not get that many emails. But like when someone, responds to like a random newsletter I've sent, like, I don't know, a year ago or something, and they're like, what ingredient is this, or where'd you get this? Because this link is broken, because that's pretty much the story of my life right now. This thing on Amazon is the wrong link or whatever, because I don't go through and update all that stuff. And just that's a person. Where do you live? Who are you? Like, you can get to know these people and talk to them. But if you are on the other side, like emailing a blogger about some such post, they're probably going to respond to you, right? They might not, but I mean, it's worth a shot, right? If you just respond, sign up for someone's newsletter, and then you respond to them, asking them various questions and getting to know them. You never know. So that's how you find people, I think. Any other questions, directions? Let me see. Yes, international. Looking. Yes. All right. So Tracy is talking about when Young Living has an event in another country, how can you get someone there? So how do you find out about these events happening in other countries? I actually think that there's an international section in the member resources, and they list all that stuff in there. You'd be surprised at how much stuff is actually in there. If you just go and look, there's a lot going on, and, a lot of different things. I don't know of everything that's going on in every country, but if I was to be targeting a particular country, I would most certainly go and find out somehow. Yes, follow the Facebook page for Young Living for that country, for example. You're going to find out about a lot going on there from that. Maybe even reach out to the country manager and ask them, where are you looking to focus? What are your plans? There's no reason why you can't do that, right? Every single one of you is important enough to do that, to say, hey, I'm looking to target this country. How can we partner together? What can I do to help? I have this contact, that contact, whatever, what has been working here, what hasn't. I mean, you can talk to these country managers and they will want to talk to you. Business development, that's what business development is. That's their goal. So it can also be like, they're going to want you to be successful because it's going to make them successful in the end. It's also just kind of good to know the people in country, because you're going to have to work with them pretty closely. And it's important to know them. Yes. Yeah, Ali just asked a good question of what countries are you guys interested in looking at? Where do you might know someone? I mean, I'm gonna put Laura on this. Why you say you want to grow internationally? Where do you want to grow? The world, Anna, of course. No, but you got to get more specific, Anna. I will hear that, but I won't let you off the hook on that one. Israel, France. I saw someone say New Zealand, Philippines, Israel and Botswana, Egypt, UK, Australia, and Europe. Okay, so I mean, are you following the Young Living page for that country already? Have you reached out to whoever, right? You can always find out by asking us or whatever. We'll help you figure out who the person is to reach out to. I would not focus on China. Someone was posting about China. China is out for now. That ended a little bit ago. China's out for now. I would say India's kind of out for now. But anywhere else is fine. And there's still plenty of opportunity. But yeah, I wouldn't focus on those. Middle East, yeah, there's some things happening. Different countries have different requirements. But again, this is why it's really important to kind of focus in on and say, okay, I'm going to put my flag down on, for this country, and then find out like, okay, what is the deal for this country? And I don't want you to ever be discouraged by like, okay, well, this country, like you have to pay customs, you have to do all the things, right? It's not like, okay, this is the price of the kit. It's like, okay, it's super pricey. It's this, there's all this extra duties and customs and whatever. People find a way. So everyone has found a way, no matter what the country is. So there is definitely members in most countries around the globe, and it really just depends on how you do it. I mean, Allie and I had to carry suitcases of kits over because you just couldn't get them there. So I mean, you just obviously that's not going to happen right now, but there are other ways. Special shippers, yeah. Yes, you can figure these things out. Does anyone have any experience with Europe? Natural health is already widespread there. It seems more competitive than here. When you say than here, where are you? Hold on. Who was that? That was Alexia. So again, conscious language, there are people everywhere, and that not all of these people have oils. Okay, so there are going to be pockets of people that this is going to resonate with, no matter where you're thinking. So it's not like there's that much, there's certainly not as much penetration into the European market as there is in the US market, for example. And yet we still have opportunity in the US market. I still know people that I meet every day that do not have Young Living oils. So, I mean, and I would think even in the Crunchy Moms group that I'm in, that everyone knows about oils, knows about herbs, knows about all these things, and yet they still don't have, they don't have, or they might have a few this here and there, but they don't know anything about the supplements. They don't know anything about anything. So, it's just important to remember that to use your conscious language, there are definitely people in Europe who need oils. So yes, I think there's definitely a huge opportunity there. And there's a lot of great things happening there. So there's just no reason, you can get product there really easily. So, I don't see why not. There's no reason why not.
Can I interject for just
Yes.
Lynn's? Just because Anna put that comment in here and it made me think of something. Is it Anna or Anna? Anna. Okay, whichever. I can't tell from the. Anyway, what I have found helpful is like in building South Africa from the beginning, but also other countries, is partnering people up that want to run together, cross-line or whatever. So if you want to build in Germany, like I had already started a chat for some people who were in Germany who wanted to build. So like, I think that if we as a broader team kind of like, okay, well, I want to build in England, like who do you know who's already building in England? Then they can do classes together or sample groups together or whatever it may be. So it's on the right time zone, the right wording, the right lingo, you know what I'm saying? So like Lara's done an amazing job and she's partnering with people from our team in South Africa. Lara's not in my team, she's in Ashley's team. So it's just, I just think it's really important to have running buddies because for me, at least personally, I do much better when I brainstorm with people. Like Lindsay knows this completely. I vomited on her yesterday. I'm like, I have all these thoughts. I don't know what to do. Help me think this through. Right. So anyway, if you have certain countries that you want to work on, like there are certain countries I work on that are super complicated and we figure it out, but it's great when you have multiple people working on it together. Cause like you can take turns dealing with the shipping crap but like, I mean, it's just the case. It's like, yes. It's not easy, but sometimes the least easy is the most worthwhile. So anyway, maybe we can, I don't know.
That brings up a really good point though, that sometimes our expectations are in a different place than what we think. So it's like, okay, I want to build in this market. And I don't think y'all understand, like, as a Royal Crown Diamond, like you think, oh, Lindsay but I don't know what the expectations are of what Lindsay does, right? Or what Ellen does. But I mean, literally Lindsay spending like I don't know, hours, days and days and days with product just surrounding me on the floor, all over my entire office, and like trying to figure out shipping issues, and just on the phone with like warehouse people, and like, you know, actually figuring out why something didn't get there, and, you know, what can get there, and can we change this so that it can get there, and, you know, processing orders, like literally on the phone talking to someone, like reading, like, oh, this person wants this. I mean, the really mundane stuff that I would never think that I would be doing. You got to do these things, right? And so I think setting your expectations, you know, and being ready to kind of do whatever it takes to ensure that somebody gets their product, or you know, just somehow, some way, and that they, you know, or whatever charges they've had, or extra customs and duties, you know, understanding that. And there's always going to be unknowns. But I think that reminded me that, you know, sometimes you think, well, it's not really in my what I thought I would be doing, or it's not in my job description, or whatever you think your job is. If you're building internationally, like definitely like think bigger and more as to what that job might be, because, you know, you just are going to have to do some pretty wonky things that maybe you didn't expect, and so, you know, just go in eyes wide open that, like, okay, if I'm trying to build this new market, like that means there's going to be people at Young Living who have no idea what to do, and I'm going to have to help them, and we're going to have to help each other, and I'm going to have to find somebody in Young Living corporate, or someone on this team or whatever, that is like willing to go the extra mile to make something happen, or to change something, or to make it easier, or to remove, you know, some kind of roadblock. In every case where I have helped someone build a market, this has been the case. It's like, you'll find these people who will just hit a wall and they won't break through the wall. They just, like, it's like, I don't know what happened. They just stop. But then there are people who break through the wall and figure it out. And even if that means that, like, the person they're dealing with at Young Living just isn't the right person, and the person needs to get a new job. I mean, like, that has happened, like, where it's like, for years in Mexico, there were all these issues. Like, I can't even tell you the issues in Mexico. It was chaos. Okay. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, I mean, there's still chaotic things. I'm not going to say there's not, there's chaotic things even in the US, but it's like, it got a little bit better to make it like where people could actually like hit bigger ranks, you know. But it took a while to get to that point. It was literally an SHIT show for like 5 years, as far as I can tell, you know, and it was like, nobody wanted to figure it out. And then all of a sudden, some people started figuring it out. So yeah, I mean, Young Living wasn't creating materials in Spanish. And like, I mean, it was just like silly, like things were happening, but like not at the scale they needed to. And people just needed to start targeting that market better. And, you know, also shady things didn't need to be happening. So, but, you know, point is, you got to break through some of those barriers, and you might hit those barriers differently as you grow in different ranks, right? You might say, well, you know, everybody pops silver, but now like nobody's popping gold. Like, why is that? You know, and, or, you know, I've popped, you know, a few golds, and like, I really want to hit diamond now. And it's like, oh, why can't we get a diamond? Like, what's happening? We're kind of hitting a wall. And you got to figure it out. Okay, so Ali's posting some links here, just so y'all know.
Can I just address this? Because this comes up all the time, especially internationally, but I want to address it about, Sophie had a comment about, there's well-known oil companies that are labeled organic, that they're from Europe, because it was the same thing when we went into South Africa. And by the way, it's the same thing in the US as well, here. So, but when we went into South Africa, they were like, soil is amazing. Everyone loves soil. That's the brand and blah, blah, blah. And like, it just doesn't compare. None of them compare. And so it actually, there's something I want to say, but I'm not going to because it's secret, but there are people very close to soil that use Young Living oils, is what I will say. But if you just compare, and there's some really cool pictures and videos you can do where you can show where you put a drop of oil on a piece of paper, how like when it's already diluted, it's different than when it's not pre-diluted, or just smell them side by side, or have a sniff party, have people bring over their oils that are from other brands and compare them next to Young Living. But like, there is no comparison. I feel confident in saying that I don't think there's an oil in the world that compares to Young Living. So if you believe in oils, then awesome, get better oils. Oh, and by the way, there's an income opportunity with our company. Is there one with what you're buying from your store? So just I don't know. I want to address that head on because it's something we've run into in every market.
Exactly. And that's, again, comes back to mindset. Oh, it gets too expensive. Oh, there's already oils out there that compete. I mean, yes, and yes. Like, yeah. I mean, if you just tell yourself, like, yeah, it's friggin' expensive because it's friggin' awesome. You know, whatever you got to tell yourself, you know, that you bought it. So, like, yeah, it's just the same. Yeah, its objections are the same globally. Exactly. Actually, I mean, they're the same everywhere. In everyone's frame of reference. Like, it's like, no, you really don't understand. People in South Africa don't have money. I'm like, no, I really do understand, because people in Mexico don't have money either, but they're still buying it. Like, people are still going to buy it, right? Like, there's going to be people who can't, but like, the people found a way. In Mexico, they found a way. They all pool money together. They do these things. The point is, there's always a way. And so Anna's like, look at it. Yeah, there's always a way. And yeah, it's very interesting to see how people find a way. And the objections don't seem to happen to the people who know how to address them, or maybe aren't provoking them. Because you guys always hear me say, maybe some of you are new to me chatting, although I recognize pretty much every name on here. But yeah, you provoke your own objections. So yeah, check on that mindset and check on what you're saying and what you're feeling and what you're projecting to the people that you're talking to, because you will provoke every objection you get. And so every objection you're hearing right now, like, you got to figure out what in you is believing that baloney, because that's what you're getting back. That's the mirror that you are getting back. So it's really important to tune into that. So, like, everyone type right now, what objections are you getting right now? Whether it's, I don't want to come to your class. I don't know, I'm going to go into a black hole. I have no idea why you're, calling me, or this is too expensive, or, people just don't want to buy right now. What is the objection you're getting right now? I don't know anyone internationally. I don't, right? Like, all of these, they already have that. They wouldn't want to buy this. They don't want to build a business. They don't like MLMs. They've been screwed over by this MLM before, right? I could name a bazillion things that you've all told me. Everyone on this phone, I know every single one of you has told me these objections before. And look, gold, platinum, whatever, like, you told me all these things already. Yeah, I could go on and on. I don't see anyone writing them. They're too scared to write them now. Okay, I have found people who have said they don't have money and have seen the power of these oils and are not doing 150 to 200 PD orders in South Africa, or are now doing, not doing. Yes, they are now doing 200 PD orders in South Africa. And that is huge, right? Like, we would hear, there's no way anybody's going to spend more, that anyone is going to, first of all, spend 50 PD a month regularly on an ER, and much less 200, right? So, I mean, yes, like, exactly. The people who see the value, they were going to spend the money somewhere else anyway. They were dealing with an issue. Why not solve the issue with this? I mean, they're going to have to deal with the issue, period. There is no stopping that, right? Somebody who's dealing with an issue, like, say someone who can't sleep, someone who literally, like, think of the worst thing ever. So many people talk about the sleep issues, but I have a really dear friend right now who is, like, literally just is staying in somewhere else. They're like, had to leave their toddler and go to another state to spend 30 days dealing with sleep issues. Like, do you know how much money that costs? Like, people are, if you can't sleep, you got to deal with the issue regardless. And even if you don't have that money, you're going to have to somehow find a way, or you're just, going to go crazy because you're not sleeping. Just something as simple as that. Like, we think, oh yeah, sleep issues, whatever, like, people talk about all the time. But remember, when people say they have sleep issues, like, it could literally mean that they're not getting more than an hour of sleep a night, and how would you think that would make you feel? I mean, it's a really big deal if you can't sleep, so sometimes these issues are seemingly not that big a deal, but they really, really are. Yes. Yeah, give them what they need, right? Give the people what they're asking for. Help them see the value. and you will have a customer for life. Other questions? What time is it? How long does this call go?
Depends
I
on the
could talk
month.
forever. You guys brought me on. I mean, I don't know.
We wanted to, so everyone on here, I hope you're taking notes, because hearing from Lindsey, yes, it's a call that's framed around how to grow internationally, but really it is truly a treat to hear from her, especially with Zooms. Trey said Zoom fatigue, and I was like laughing. I'm like, my kids were off the chain today because I'm like, it's okay. It's just the 7th day in a row that I have multiple Zooms in the daytime and at night. It's fine. You'll be fine. And I got a moment where I'm like, that is crazy, because none of us love that, right? That's not something that any of us love, but it's how we communicate with people when we're not able. I mean, even for me, I meet sometimes with people who are local to me with the Zoom. Like, that's just what we've all been doing a lot. And it's nice to hear something different, even if it's familiar voices and leadership for me. I'm like, this is my RCB. Of course I've heard from her and I love it, but I took a ton of notes because I need mindset work and encouragement just as much as anyone else. And I think we can all say that no matter where we are. So it's so nice hearing something that might be relatively similar to what we say ourselves even, but like hearing it and believing it and then speaking it to someone else fills all of us up. So I want to encourage everyone on here with that if you're feeling like you're like, oh, I want to build here, I want to build here. Like, I think times like this are great where we've all said in the comments some ideas that we can do that are different. I mean, I've never thought about, like, I was coming over there, Sophia, you should teach, like, I'll help you teach a class where you talk about how, like, the getting started in Europe, and then all of us get on there. So it's not just her and her prospects and then like 4 people in her upline watching, right? Because that's also a weird, uncomfortable thing. I think it is for most of us. But when we partner and take turns and maybe watch that modeled, I'm like, that's awesome for April, right? What if we have a class 4 weeks in a row where it's a specific market where all of us come on, so it's fun? Because this is fun. If you're a prospect and you saw 30 people like smiling, interacting, commenting, you want to be part of it. I feel like sometimes the pressure of 5 people and two people teaching it and 5 prospects, it's really hard sometimes, especially if you're like commenting, interacting, but it's obvious that you've been using the products for 7 years. I mean, that happens to me all the time, right? Someone's teaching, I'm like, yeah, dump your peppermint. Like, it's obvious that you're like the cheerleader. So I think if we're all on there, no one will know who knows what. And so that's something, if everyone wants to do it, I'm happy to like cross coordinate that and get someone. It does not matter rank, right? You can be a distributor and be a great teacher for your market. So I don't think it's all saying like you need to be a diamond to be teaching in your marketplace, and then have us all join so we can see it modeled. Because I think seeing it modeled was huge for me, because I get really confused. Raise your hand if you're, I mean, like, I literally am like, I have to sit down. And what I said, I want y'all to just maybe take away this too. I literally have like paper where I draw. I mean, this is how dumbed down I have to make my life. I'm like, here's a map of Canada. Here's where people live in Canada that are on your team. Here's a map of South Africa. Here's the amount of hours it takes to get from this place to this place. I mean, yesterday on the phone for almost 2 hours, I had Laura tell me where people live, like on her team. So I can be like, okay, so this person, like, to visually see, because I don't know if that helps you guys, but all just making it simple. That is something that really helps me. And also, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. It makes me feel better.
I have this hanging on my wall because I was meeting so many people, and I put pins where they were messaging me from, because I'm like, I've never heard of this place. Like, where is this place? And it was like, I don't know, just really strange, interesting places that I had never heard of. And I had to like put pins where they were because I wanted to make sure I understood where they were. So yes, it is sitting right in front of my desk.
And Lindsey, to be quite honest, most adults actually don't know the countries of the world. Like, that's not a true, like, they don't.
It's okay.
So when they ask,
I mean, yeah, it's
okay. So
but just learn
when
it.
they ask about a country, right? If we're growing there, I love it, because what happens is, I'll be honest, I've had a conversation with someone on my team, and they were asking me about a country that was in South America, and they thought it was in Africa. Like, they did not know where it was, which was fine. I'm like, hey, here's the thing. We need to all be okay with it, because if you have no experience with studying geography in the past 30 years or 20 years of your life, you probably have no idea time zones. You probably don't even know the international date line. I mean, my favorite is stupid times. I mean, when we spring forward and fall back into it, I'm like, starting next in a couple of weeks from now, I'll readjust when you're there. Or, I mean, if you're having classes and I always think the Philippines is 12 hours different from us. If everything I have is in the middle of the night for them, like, of course they can never come. Well, like, of course they can't. But also, I'm not going to have a class at 4 a.m. every day of the week forever, because they're not going to want to do that and duplicate it. So I just have to figure it out. And I mean, that's I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. That's how I kind of wanted to say. I actually have no clue what I'm doing 99% of the time. And I feel like it makes life way more exciting. So if you also are okay with that, then let's all figure it out together. And Lindsey, just keep telling us all of your really good tips, because what you just said about the map, don't know why I don't have one on my wall. I like to draw, I like to redraw it because clearly I'm a child where I like to redraw things and write personal notes that say really dumb things like 29-hour flight or driving distance multiple days. That's what I write. Or
you know what?
country.
I have to tell you that this map, I printed it out from online. It's just a regular piece of paper, but then my daughter, in all the random supplies I get her for crafting or whatever, they had like a little flat piece of canvas, and she taped it to the canvas and then put a rubber band so that it could hang up on the wall. I mean, my kid is amazing and helpful. But like, I'm looking at it right now. When I took it off the wall, I was like, why is this rubber band on here? Is this what happened? Like, she did that for me, the tape and everything. And she used the tape. She used the same colored tape. I'm just looking at it now. I mean, it's something I haven't looked at. It's like, this was from a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago, but she used the color tape of the flag of South Africa. So it's like blue, green, yellow, and red. So there you go. Simple things, simple things. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate when you guys ask for my help. I'm always happy to do other calls, Zooms, whatever you want me to do to re-energize, to just get a different perspective. I'm still here. I'm just not on social media, but I do exist. People do exist outside of social media. Love all of you guys, and always happy to share my perspective. So, and to hear from you.
Thank you, Lindsey. We love you. I don't know, Tracy, if you want anything else, but I think we're at about an hour, and I just want to thank everyone who contributed and showed your face, because I feel like seeing people's faces is so powerful, because then I'm like, I know who you are. You're not just a name, especially if it's cross-line, right? You're not just like this name and I've never seen you before. And I also love, I promise I am ending it, I love when it's different times of day where we are. Like, I think that's so fun, because what you're doing is different than me. And I actually think it's exciting, because I just think it's fun to do that. And it's also fun, even if you're not in another country. I mean, for us, Hawaii, right? That's 6 hours different for me. So it's always funny when I'm like, oh, so sorry, you're actually eating lunch and I'm just my kids to bed. So it's just fun. So thank you so much for your time, Lindsey. Thanks again for being with us today. And we will see you guys. I'm going to start coordinating for all the different markets. And for sure, this is first Thursdays when we've been doing this, and everyone's always invited to attend. And we'll start making it bigger, better, and sharing more.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.